everyone. I hope you are well. Welcome to the next part of our training series, which is the INLAP MOPs. When you log into QuickBase, you will be brought to a home screen, the document listing of all of your apps within QuickBase. You'll select the document library app, and then this will bring you to a View Documents Site Dashboard screen. As you know that there are multiple fields, there's the View Documents, there's Add Documents, Active INLAP SOPs, and the Active MOPs table. There are multiple ways to look at the MOPs. The first is if you select the INLAP MOPs quick button, this will bring you to a filterable table of the MOPs that are assigned to your site team. Currently, I'm testing as a training role, so there's only one MOP that is listed here. However, if you wanted to and you have multiple MOP types, you can select a filter that is here. As you can see, we have at this current time a test protocol number. If you have multiple protocol numbers, all of the protocol numbers will be listed here, along with the site and the status. So this will help you narrow the results down. In addition, you can always search in these documents. The MOPs table will give you a quick snapshot of current information. It will tell you if the MOP is active or inactive. The document type will always be listed as a MOP when you're within the MOPs table. The protocol number will be listed here. The title of the MOP, the version of the MOP, MOP approval date, effective date, the date the checklist, implementation checklist was completed, and the final MOP document. You can either immediately select the final document by selecting on this field, which will allow you to open with Adobe. As you can see here, will bring you immediately to the sheet to the MOP that is current. In addition, you can select the line for the MOP that you need the information for. If you click on that line, it will bring you to a document details screen. The document overview and this tab will tell you what the document type is. So the document type is MOP, the status is active, the title of the MOP will be relevant to which MOP this is in reference to, including the protocol number. This protocol section will tell you the protocol number and also the protocol version. The document details section will give you the current version of the MOP approval date, the MOP effective date, the document final, this will be the final MOP. If you select the example MOP, this blue line, it will hyperlink you to an Adobe file that you can update. The MOP signature page, this will be the signed MOP page that the team signs. Which will be this version here. And then the date the site implementation checklist was received. You will also have a date created and a last review date if these are needed. Some of the site teams do create their own lab MOPs and review these routinely. The site created lab MOPs would be done with the relationship of INLAP and the review of INLAP. But these fields were added so that if this information is needed, we would be able to populate this. There will also be a field for lab request forms. As you can see, I had to select the caret to drop this open. But there are two fields for lab request form. The difference between lab request form A and lab request form B is really dependent on if your site team has multiple lab request forms or multiple lab request sites so that you would be able to access these. There's no difference between A and B and sense of priority is just if you have multiple sites or multiple lab request forms that are separately kept. Here, you'd be able to select your lab request form through the hyperlink. I'm going to open this again. So this is an example of a lab request form, which would have the information as needed. You'll also have the version number of the lab request form and the lab request form date, version date. Associated documents will be something that's available if there are any associated documents for this lab MOP. That could be something like flow charts or specimen charts or appendices that are relevant to this lab MOP. The updates and the comments is something that you'll see throughout many different versions of the INLAP document library. You'll find this in the SOP section and of course the MOP section. And the updates are anything that are critical updates that are not noted in another way or version. And then comments are anything that we would like to just highlight to you. The majority of time, these updates and these comments will be addressed in the final document in the reversion history. But if there's anything that we would like to highlight, we will place those comments in the updates in the comments section. At the top, there's also a site implementation checklist. As you know, once we release a lab MOP, we would like you to return this implementation checklist within 2 weeks of the effective date. The implementation checklist is that form that is in our MOP SOP that notes that you've done, the required work that needs to be done, such as removing forms or versions that are prior, and also the implemented aspect. So to give you an example, I'll open this implementation checklist. And then this would be the form that you're all familiar with the date completed. You'll be able to upload your own implementation checklist by clicking on the Edit button. You'll note the implementation checklist complete date by selecting from the calendar, and then the MOP implementation checklist. If a file is not already there or you need to upload another file, you would just select Browse, and then you would select the implementation checklist from your history and the associated document. Once you upload that, you would just click Save and Close. And that site implementation checklist complete date will be noted along with the form. And then if I go back to our INLAP MOPs, the implementation checklist completed, if this date wasn't already noted, in this case, this date's already noted because the checklist was updated, but if this wasn't already recorded here, this date would populate. And this will give you as a team an ability to quickly check to make sure that you've sent all the implementation checklist or uploaded the implementation checklist as required. If I go back to our home screen, the second way to look at the MOPs that are assigned to your site team are by looking at this active MOPs table. This active MOPs table will have all of your active MOPs, and it will have very similar information as to that larger MOPs table that we saw. It will have the title, it will have the current version, approval date, effective date, and the implementation checklist complete date. If I select that MOP, if I click on it, it will bring us to that document overview and documents details table and information that we just looked at. It's exactly the same, it's just a different manner of accessing that MOP that you're looking for. So I'm going to go back to the home screen. So the great thing about the SOPs and the MOPs is that there are multiple ways to access these and to filter these results down depending on what you need to access. If you have any questions, please do let us know. Thank you.